back to my channel. I'm back with another video. Y'all, I am loving this new head wrap I just bought. Man, listen, and I would give y'all the link, but you know they ain't sponsoring me, so I might just keep this to myself. But I'm loving this head wrap. But anyway, so a couple weeks ago I actually went on my Instagram and Twitter, but no one answered the Twitter one, of course. But I went on Instagram and I asked you guys what your opinions were about schools making vaccines mandatory. And so I'm going to be reading your guys' responses and then giving my feedback on what you guys say. Now, I didn't think to ask if anybody would want their username or their face to be shown with their response. So what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna read any names. I'm just gonna be reading the responses, and then I'm going to put the responses up on screen, but I'm going to not have the username on there. I'm gonna have it cut off. So yeah, the question was, should schools make the COVID-19 vaccine mandatory? So the first response I got is, and I'm on my old phone, my Android. Someone said, low key, yeah, I feel it makes everyone feel more safe and comfortable with going out. Now, yes, that's true. Having people vaccinated will make everybody feel more safe and comfortable about going to school, because a lot of people might not want to send their child to school, or if we're talking about college, some people may not feel comfortable going back to college if everybody doesn't have the vaccine, and that's even including the staff members as well. So I definitely can see that. Someone said, I think if schools want to reopen at a higher capacity, they should require vaccines. I can see that as well. So okay, so so my thing with the vaccine too is you know, a lot of people have their apprehensions about the vaccine. I have my apprehensions about the vaccine. I'm not saying I'm not going to take it. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. Okay, I'm going to take the COVID vaccine, but you know, it's natural to be skeptical about it because of the nature of the healthcare system, the nature of the government, and the nature of how quickly this vaccine came to be. It is kind of odd to me too that when the vaccine first came out, everybody was skeptical and people were saying that, like, oh my god, like, how could it come out this fast? Like literally everybody was skeptical, but now everybody's like on board with it, which I find to be interesting, because I don't know when that shift happened, like when people went from you know, not wanting to take the vaccine, not trusting the vaccine, to not only trusting the vaccine, but then also almost trying to like bully other people into getting it. Like, I don't know, like it's just it's interesting. But yeah, I do think that if schools are going to open at a higher capacity and this vaccine is proven to be safe and effective, that it would make sense that, you know, most people would need to get it. Also, if schools are continuing to be mostly virtual, then I don't believe they should be required. I also agree with that. I feel like at the end of the day, with this vaccine, yes, again, if it's proven to be safe and effective, then I still think people should have the choice. Same thing with the flu shot. Like, no, well, I think because of COVID too, I know that last year some schools and some companies were requiring that you got the flu shot because of the COVID. But prior to that, flu vaccinations have always been optional unless you're like, some jobs require that you get flu vaccinations. Like if you work in the healthcare system, you had to get a flu shot. But for the most part, like if you're just going to college, you don't have to get the flu shot. Like my old roommate, she never got the flu shot. Like, flu shots naturally aren't required. They're required in certain circumstances. So I feel like when it comes to the COVID-19 vaccine, it should be the same thing. Like, it shouldn't be mandatory by the government. I think that it should still be a choice, and then certain schools and businesses can decide if that's something that is mandatory. But I don't think that that's something that should be forced upon by the government. Someone said no, it should be optional. Some people are still skeptical about the vaccine. Like I said, including me, I still have my skepticism. Again, I'm not against vaccines. I take the flu shot every year. I don't mind taking a COVID-19 vaccine every single year, but I just want to feel safe and comfortable with it. And I feel like it hasn't been out long enough for me to get to that point. But it's people, whatever. Someone said, I believe it should be optional because forcing someone against their will to get it is unfair. Yeah. As much as people love to talk about the country and its freedoms, we are a free country, and we've never been, I don't think that it's okay to force people to get something injected inside of them. Like, that's just not, I just don't agree with that. And I know there's going to be other people who don't agree with me on that, and that's perfectly fine. That's your right. But I don't think it should be something that is forced. I still think that in the grand scheme of things, it should be optional, because then even in that case, right, let's say you have schools and companies that are requiring that you get the vaccine, you can also decide to not go to that school. You can decide to leave that job if you still don't feel comfortable getting it. I still think that it should be a individual choice. Same thing with anything else. Like, it should be an individual choice. It should not be something that is mandated. Let's see. Someone said, if you are living on campus and don't have a medical reason to not take it, then yes. Again, I can understand this perspective. If you are living on campus and you're around other people, you don't want someone that is at risk of catching the virus and potentially, spreading it to other people. But again, too, like, that's why, that's the whole idea behind herd immunity, is if you have enough people in the area that are vaccinated, the chances of anyone getting the virus is very slim. And so I think that, if enough people get it, then, that's not really like a huge risk. But, I don't know. Someone said, I think if they require it, they should be able to provide it as well. That I do agree with. And I know that with George Mason specifically, they have been offering the vaccine at Eagle Bank Arena. And so I agree with that as well. Same thing with school being online. Like, students didn't have any, we didn't have any control over this pandemic and how it was going to affect the world. And so when everything went virtual, I did appreciate the fact that most schools, including middle school and high schools, provided not only laptops and tablets, but they also provided internet. I know that I saw schools setting up Wi-Fi points at various neighborhoods that had students that go to their school so that they could do their work, or they set up little stations at the school for parents to come and bring their kids so they can do their work. So I think that if you're going to make anything mandatory, that you should also provide it. So I definitely agree with that. If you're going to make the vaccine a requirement for attending the school, then you should provide some kind of resource for them to be able to get the vaccine. Someone said, I think so. I mean, they already require other vaccines, so what's one more for a year or two? And again, like, I'm pretty sure that the COVID vaccine, I mean, who knows? I'm assuming it's going to be a yearly thing, like the flu shot, because there's already multiple strands of coronavirus out there. I think people are forgetting that. But yeah, I don't know if it's just going to be for a year or two, but yeah, I mean, there are other types of, shots and things of that nature that are required in certain cases, especially when you're young. Like, when you're young and you're going to elementary school, they make you take certain shots and things like that. So yeah, let's see, someone said if they're providing them, yes to those who are eligible, excluding allergies. And that's another thing too I want to bring up, because people don't like to look at every little detail of stuff. People are forgetting that there are people out there who can't get it, either because of allergies or other health reasons, or like I know that I was watching The Real one time, and Adrienne was saying that she had spoken to a few doctors and they told her not to get the vaccine because there wasn't enough research on how the vaccines affect your fertility. And again, that's not saying that it is going to affect your fertility, but there hasn't been enough research done on it. And because she's trying to have a kid, they essentially told her to hold off on getting the vaccination. And so I think people are starting to forget that too. It's like, not everybody can get the vaccine. The vaccine isn't available to everyone. So before you start, trying to like judge a person because they're not vaccinated, take those other things into consideration as well. Like I said, everybody has different reasons. It's not every person that isn't vaccinated is like by choice, or because they're being defiant, or because they don't care about other people and their health. There are certain circumstances where, and don't get me wrong, there are a number of people who are that. There are people out there, even before COVID was a thing, there were people out there who were very against getting any type of vaccines at all. People who are just defiant, people who don't like to wear a mask. Like, you do have those people, and I recognize that, but then also understand the other side of that, where there's people who just simply can't get it. So we shouldn't just exclude those people from society because they're not able to get it. And then lastly, someone said, I think so. They require the meningitis and other vaccines, so adding this one is easy. Like I said, if they supply it, if it's readily available, if it's proven to be safe and effective, then I don't see anything wrong with that. But yeah, you guys had some pretty good detailed responses, and I really appreciate everybody who responded. I'm definitely going to do this again in the future for any other topics that I can think of. But yeah, that's kind of just where it's at. As you can see, people have mixed opinions, but most people are leaning more towards that it should be required. And so we'll see. We'll see in the next coming months. The semester and the school year has just wrapped up for a lot of people, and so we'll see in the fall how it looks, and where some of these schools are going to go in terms of making people take it or not making people take it. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys believe that schools should require vaccinations. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.